I'm pleased to welcome you all on the occasion of World Heart Day 2020. I'm thankful to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Farzana Mehdi ma'am, for helping us in organizing this event. I'm pleased to welcome our Chief Guest, Professor Muhammad Ahmad sir, Guest of Honor, Dr. Vijay Bora sir, our Dean, Faculty of Medicine, Professor M.M. Faridi sir, our Principal, Dr. Jamal Masood sir. I want to give a brief introduction of our cardiology department. It was started, the cardiology department here was started in 2015 August. I started in August and later on Dr. Late Fazal Kareem joined in the October. The aim of the establishing department, the aim of the management was to provide the affordable cardiac care, highest quality cardiac care at an affordable price. In our Uttar Pradesh, we have a very, we know that there is a lot of poor population and
dignitaries, students, friends and my teachers. It's a great honor to have all of you here on the occasion of World Heart Day. It's very difficult to squeeze time for events like this, but these events are a moral booster for all the students, all the staff, all the people working out over there. Because on this occasion, on the occasion of World Heart Day, we have assembled here just to reinforce that all of us, including old and young, some of us are very young and some of us are old. Now the criteria is old or young, you need to take care of your heart. That is the message that should be loud and clear. It's not a disease of the old anymore. Because post-COVID pandemic, we have been seeing people from all age groups. Even we are seeing in 25, 20, 30s. Early 30s, we are seeing a plenty of patients who are coming to us, which was a reality before the COVID pandemic. So maybe we are clueless about what is the exact cause. But that is one thing which has changed the course of history for times to come. And after Dr. Fazal and Dr. Wani were instrumental in getting me out over here. I was used to a corporate setup before coming here, and every time Fazal used to tell me, Wani used to tell me, Dr. Wani, okay, we need to start a cardiac surgery program here. I was very skeptical, how can we do it? But the management was very supportive. I had many rounds of talk before how can we start and how we can carry forward the program, which should be sustainable and viable in the long term. It's not a program we start today and close it tomorrow. If we provide the services, we provide it for times to come. So with the aim of supporting the society and a very efficient cardiology team, we started the cardiac surgery department in 2018. I joined the department in August 2018 and we were able to do our first case by the month end. So this is a brief journey and the brief hurdles that we come across. Every system has its teething problems. We had our set of own problems. We sat down, we thought over it, we tried to overcome them, how we can improve, how we can sort out the problems. We started the program 2018. What were the initial challenges which we recognized we required for the setup? Initial was infrastructure and setup. The management assured us that they will give us the best, whatever we want. This was the assurance from the management, whatever we want, they will give us the best. Then the next hurdle when you run a program is team building. You need people to run the team. You need efficient, hardworking, dedicated people to run the show. So that was the thing. We categorized our staffs into 3 categories before we started the program. A, B and C. The A team will be the team which is an experienced team, which has an experience of working in a cardiac surgical setup else. And then we take those people and train people from our own place. So we formed the B team and the C team by taking people from our own institute. That is how we started. Then one more problem which was unique was we had a problem with the CSD services. A hospital run-up is never 9 to 5. That was one of the problems which I realized, no, we need an effective, functional CSSD round the clock. That is mandatory for a setup to run. Then after all these setups, the thing was to run a safe program. It should be safe because cardiac surgery is a surgery which is usually done once in a lifetime. And usually the kids will bring their parents to get them operated. So you have to convince the patient, you have to convince the kids and the relatives that, oh, our setup is safe, he can be operated. So we started the program, and fortunately 4 years down the line, we can say we are running a sustainable, viable program. On 29th of August 2018 was the day when we did our first open heart cardiac surgery at Era Medical College. And we did an off-pump CABG with 4 grafts. The patient went home on day 5, which was good, because that was an uneventful recovery for the first case, which gives courage, support and boost up to the team for the times to come. Then by the year end, that was 2018, by December, we had done around 27 cases we had done, but we had 3 mortalities in this. So for around 30 cases, 3 mortalities was a bit too high. Then we decided, we started thinking where we went wrong. We need to rethink, reanalyze, re-strategize, and need to find out the problem. Then after a lot of brainstorming, we found out that sepsis was the cause which we were looking into it. Then again we started working upon our pre-operative workup in the OR. We can get the infection either in the pre-op, OR or the post-op, the 3 places. Then air quality in the OR we found to be substandard. Then again we sat up with the management, we decided to change the air quality. They helped us and we set up a new AHU. We changed the entire air handling unit in 4 months. So that is exceptional support from the management. We changed the entire AHU unit, and then we started the system of biomarkers in the CST, so that we'll give you an analysis whether the instruments, the trays are properly sterilized or not. Because the color, there is a color coding, when the sterilization is effective, it will change. It will give you a certain color. And then we started forming protocols for our ICUs, for our OTs. We started restricting the visitors, and then we started improving on our results. We started having less and less sepsis in the ICU. In 2019, we did around 91 cases, of which the majority were coronaries of this. And similarly, in 2020, we had a dip, like all other institutes, because it was a crisis for the entire humanity, and we were struggling to manage that. And this was the time when we shut down our operative work. We looked into the help and support that we could provide to the society, to all the people over there. And we had all those telemedicine supports. We started calling our patients, following up them, providing whatever support to the pre-operative or even the waiting patients, those who were waiting for surgery, because those were anxious moments for the patients and the relatives. Similarly, in 2021, we had, I think, 101 cases we did. The majority of the cases are coronary, that is the bread and butter for the surgical, adult cardiac surgery unit. 22, I think we had 115 cases. Again, in this we had 3 DVRs, 1 DVR plus tricuspid valve replacement. These are major surgeries, and 81 coronaries. In fact, in this patient, we had a patient referred from Gorakhpur who came to us with a stuck angio catheter in the right radial artery. He was a left main patient. We operated we removed the brachial catheter from the radial artery and did a CABG in the same sitting. And this is a brief data from 2018 to 2022, and by end of till last Wednesday we have done around 425 cases. And since our setup is unique, we cater to most of the patients from the lower socio-economic strata of the society. We are looking into options for finances. Since the system has to be a sustainable system, so we are operating on Ayushman Bharat cases, and we have others. We are trying to arrange some NGO setups for funding our patients, so that we can work on them, those who cannot afford the surgeries and they don't have the Ayushman Bharat card. Here we have 66% patients are paying, 33% is the 33% of the patients got operated under Ayushman Bharat scheme. And I think in entire UP, we are leading in number of cardiac surgical cases till date. We have done around 120. This is a brief slide of results. We have 8 mortality around in 422 cases. So that translates into around 1.89%. That's a respectable thing, because if you look into the data of mortality and outcomes, we don't have a standard data published from our country. We will get breakups from certain centers in the country. So some of the data that are available online is from Apollo Kolkata is there, Apollo Chennai is there. They have published data for coronary surgeries around 1.6 to 2.2. So we reasonably fit into that category. The spectrum of cases that we have done till date for the adult cardiac surgery, these are the things: ASD closure, AVR, MVR, DVR plus tricuspid, CABG plus MVR, AVR, and one case we have done CABG plus DVR, myxoma, tricuspid valve replacement for an infective endocarditis, who was in hospital for around 6 months in other places. Then we have done one epicardial pacemaker for a hospital staff's wife. There were some issues we couldn't do in the cath lab, so we did it in the OR. Then we had one diaphragmatic hernia repair in combination with the general surgery team. Sanitha sir is sitting over here, and 2 pericardiectomies and vascular cases we are doing a lot. One more thing we added to our setup in the COVID times. Everyone was asking for, does your center have an ECMO setup? This was the question everyone was asking for the relatives, because this offered a ray of hope at the times of latest crisis. Our management looked into it, and we got one of the latest ECMO machines. And this is the tool. It comes with the name of CardioHealth. This is the machine which was widely used in the COVID times. In COVID-1, that was in 2020, the results were very reasonable. We were able to salvage some patients. But unfortunately in 2021, the second wave, which hit widely across the globe and the country, plenty of patients were put on ECMO, but the results were not that encouraging. Now we have traveled so far. Where do we stand and what do we look forward to? So these are our future plans. Young Dr. Abhinav has recently joined us as a pediatric cardiologist. So we are just going to embark upon since he is here, we'll start our pediatric cardiac surgery program soon. This is how a baby looks like after being operated for a cardiac surgery. That is an immensely sick baby. So we are looking upon building our team for the post-operative care, because these are sick babies who need to be looked and cared 24/7. And we'll start with the basic pediatric cardiology program initially, and as the team and the program grows, we'll come on to the complex cardiac surgery program. Initially, we'll be doing with ASDs, VSDs, PDAs, TOFs, BTSs, BT shunt, bidirectional Glenn shunt, Fontan, and coarctation of aorta. These are the lists that we are planning to start on the first phase. Then the next phase will be starting with the minimally invasive cardiac surgery program. As the conventional surgery, the picture on the left side, that is a conventional cardiac surgical incision, which looks ugly. Though it is life-saving, it looks ugly. So we have to think. Now we are looking into, the surgeons are looking into options for sparing the breastbone and opening to the natural spaces, which are the intercostal spaces. Like we can see for the CABG surgery, bypass surgeries, it is on the left side, and for the valvular and other surgeries, it is on the right side. The only problem is it requires certain instrumentations. So we'll look into that, we'll get all those instruments as we grow older. Now this is one area which is coming up. We will be seeing more and more patients with heart failure. Heart failure has 2 treatments. The first, it goes to the cardiology colleagues. It is managed over there. They are also coming up with plenty of heart failure treatment options. And once the patients are not amenable to cure, or if they are requiring more treatment, more hospital admissions, then the surgical options for heart failure come into play. These are the devices which may look fascinating. One on the left is these are the VADs are the ventricular assist devices. We can have LVAD, that is the left ventricular assist device. RVAD is the right ventricular assist device, and this one is the BiVAD. The one image here is the BiVAD. It has got both left ventricular assist device as well as the right ventricular device. It supports both the chambers of the heart in pushing the blood to the respective vessels. And this is one extreme working. People are working on this. This is a total artificial heart. The problem is with VADs, ventricular assist devices, is they are a bridge to transplant. They are not destination therapies. Though they were started with short-term supports, now the duration is being increased, but still it is considered as a bridge to transplant only. And since we have a shortage of the organs are not available, especially in our country and more so in the northern part of India. The south has picked up far more than the northern India in terms of organ donation. So since we don't have the organs, people are thinking how we can overcome that. So thus they came with the idea of total artificial heart, which can be a long-term support for the failing hearts, as well as it can be also treated as a destination therapy. So this will be, people will be walking around with this. That is the remote battery supply, which will need to be plugged every night. The supply will be from there, and that will pump the heart. So at one stage we have to embark upon the transplant journey. We have to be there sooner or later. That is how a surgeon looks like. He's catching two hearts in his head, one left heart, one in the left hand and the other in the right. And he is now totally confused which is the donor and which is the... And finally that is the lung transplant. And one is the lung transplant which picked up in the COVID times. The results are encouraging. They require bigger setups. And as a part of institute, we are not in isolation. Our aim is always to train. We have to train people. The institute moves like that. So we are into training of surgical residents, anesthesia residents, and with our critical care team, we want to start a program where we can have PDCC, cardiac critical care along with cardiological exposure and cardiac surgical exposure. Suppose we have a 1-year program, we can have 3 months in cardiology, 3 months in cardiac surgery. When he passes out, he is a complete trained person. Then we can have diploma in perfusion technology, physician health assistant we can train them, and we can train the staffs who are the backbones of all the services that we are doing. They are the unsung heroes of the results that we deliver in our work. And since we have assembled on the occasion of the World Heart Day, this is the theme for World Heart Day 2022. Use your heart for humanity, use your heart for nature, and use it for yourself. We cannot ignore ourselves. If we want to serve, we need to take care of ourselves. That is how, old or young, don't ignore your heart. And finally, whatever results that we have done and the work that we have done, it is all because of the teamwork. And the team comprises in the OR team, the ICU team, the hospital administration team, and all people out over there supporting us even from behind. They are a part of our team, and we really thank each one and every one of you. Thank you. And we hope to continue